Good morning. I'm calling this meeting to order at 10:03 a.m. I'm David Do, Commissioner of the Taxi and Limousine Commission. I'm joined today by Board of Commissioners Mitchell, Sorrentino, Velasquez, Bader, and Chan. Happy Lunar New Year, everyone. Wishing my fellow commissioners, our licensees, and our TLC family a prosperous year of the wood snake. Now I'd like to recognize Commissioner Chan to give us well wishes. Commissioner Chan?
Thank you, Commissioner. As many of you know, today is Lunar New Year. It is the year of the snake. To those of you celebrating the holiday, I'd like to wish you and your loved ones a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Just a couple of announcements before we begin. Continuing our busy hearing schedule, I'd like to remind everyone that we have another public hearing next Wednesday. This time, we will be focused on adjusting driver minimum pay to account for increased expenses and rule changes to deter future driver access restrictions, better known as lockouts. This affects thousands of rideshare drivers and this administration's ongoing commitment to make this city more affordable. I encourage people to sign up and speak. You can do so at tlcrules@tlc.nyc.gov or call 212-676-1135 by 5 p.m. on February 5th, 2025. You can also submit written comments online at www.nyc.gov/nycrules. Public comments are integral to our rulemaking process, and I also like to note that we've received 2 petitions for rulemaking from our stakeholders. We are very appreciative of those, and they include valuable ideas. The Commission reviewed them both and ultimately decided the appropriate action was to integrate those ideas into our own proposal and move ahead next week, in which we will be hearing it. So we're looking forward to hearing more thoughts on driver pay rules next week. Next, I have a brief update on the ongoing efforts by the state meant to address decades-old issues for the for-hire insurance market. I met with Superintendent Harris to discuss 3 bills that put forward in the governor's budget. Broadly, the bills are meant to increase coverage dependability, get rates to more actuarially appropriate levels, and allow for more options in the market. The superintendent expressed confidence and optimism that the bills will help stabilize and strengthen the market and provide drivers with more choices for quality, dependable coverage. We'll be watching the development of those bills closely, and we appreciate the state's efforts to address these long-standing issues. Now on to our rulemaking. Today we have 3 rule proposals to vote on. The first requires new wait times for vehicles dispatched by high-volume for-hire services. This is to encourage accessible vehicle dispatchers and their bases to continue prioritizing and improving the quality of accessible vehicle service in New York City. The new rules that dispatchers serve at least 90% of waived requests in 10 minutes or less. If adopted, the evaluation period for the remainder of the 2025 calendar year would begin on April 1st. Our second proposal implements Local Laws 33 and 56 of 2024 by creating an interior advertising provider license applicable to for-hire vehicles. Our second these rules create a formal procedure for the licensing and supervision of businesses that provide approved electronic tablets and software for interior advertising in for-hire vehicles, including appropriate penalties for violations of these rules. TLC will be able to review required data provided by each provider and examine the compensation perceived by drivers and also adjust the rate of compensation as necessary. Passengers will be able to tip drivers through the tablet if the transaction is processed through a TLC license base with an integrated application. After reviewing the written comments and testimony from the January 9th hearing, we made the following changes. 1, we expanded certain tablet functions for passengers while limiting certain tablet functions for drivers. We are proposing less restrictive privacy and geolocation standards in keeping with current practices of the National Advertising Institute. Some technical changes were made to the insurance requirements as well. Our third proposal amends our insurance rules to better ensure coverage for TLC licensed vehicles. It requires insurers to be authorized to do business in New York State by the Superintendent of Insurance, and also includes comprehensive reporting requirements aligned with New York State vehicle and traffic law. The New York State DMV and the New York State Department of Financial Services. TLC has made several changes to the proposed rules following the written comments and testimony at the public hearing on December 11th. We removed language that insurance carriers be solvent and responsible companies, instead focusing on the requirement that they be authorized to do business in the state by the superintendent of insurance. This will provide more coverage flexibility for TLC vehicle owners as carriers undergo state-level regulatory review. And it removes the need for vehicle owners to determine their carrier's financial status. We also deleted the policyholder name and covered vehicle registration name matching requirement as unnecessary. New York State motor vehicle licensing requirements already cover these issues. We're also deleting the requirement for TLC minimum coverage to be met through a single primary policy, so long as the carrier is authorized to do business in New York State. Most importantly, the effective date for the new regulations will be January 1st, 2026. This gives everyone sufficient notice to be able to comply for next year's vehicle license renewal. I will now go to General Counsel Cheryl Ludo to take us through the agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first item before you are the minutes for the October 16th, 2024 Commission meeting. I will call a vote to adopt those minutes. All in favor of adopting the minutes, raise your hand. Thank you. The vote is unanimous. I will now call on Executive Director of Application Processing, Antoinette Jean Lewis, to present the base license applications.
Commissioners, my name is Antoinette Jean Lewis. I'm the Executive Director of Application Processing and Licensing. We have 11 applications that are.
Commissioners, can we have a vote on adopting the base license recommendations? All in favor, please raise your hands. And the vote passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. Commissioners, we'll now turn to item 5A on the agenda, the wait time restrictions for FHV waives rule proposal. The proposed rules were published in the City Record on October 31st, 2024 for public comment. A public hearing was held by the TLC on December 11th. On January 24th, 2025, the final version of the proposed rule was posted on our website and circulated to the Commissioners, along with a hearing transcript and all written comments that were received. Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor of the rules as amended, please raise your hand. Thank you. The rule is adopted unanimously. We will now turn to item 5B on the agenda, the interior advertising provider licenses for TLC license for hire vehicles rule proposal. The proposed rules were published in the City Record on December 10th for public comment. The public hearing was held by the TLC on January 9th, and on January 24th, the final version of the proposed rule was posted on our website, circulated to the Commissioners, along with the hearing transcript and all written comments. Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor of
I'd like to speak on that for a moment, please.
Sure, I'll pause.
There was a lot of testimony on this issue. I want everyone here to be aware of the fact that we listened and that we made major considerations. We made sure that the individual drivers were going to get a percentage of the revenue. In this case, it's 25%. For passengers who are concerned, we wanted to make sure that the passenger had the option to turn off this advertising, such that they would be able to do whatever business they wanted to do while they're in the vehicle, and that is also part of this. And we want to encourage the riding public as well as the drivers to inform us as soon as possible if any of these new criteria that are a result of that have come out as a result of this opportunity for the individual companies to make money, that they let us know if there is any violation of any of these things, because we don't want anything to have a detrimental impact on either the riding public or any drivers. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor of adopting the rules as amended, please raise your hand. Thank you. The rule proposal passes unanimously. Okay, we will now turn to item 5C on the agenda.
Is a point of order allowed?
No.
A procedural
Nope.
question or issue?
No. We'll now turn to item 5C on the agenda, the rule proposal amending the insurance requirements for TLC licensed vehicles. The proposed rules were published in the City Record on October 31st. Public hearing was held by the TLC on December 11th, and on January 24th, the final version of the proposed rule was posted on our website, circulated to the Commissioners, Any comments, commissioners? Yes.
Once again, and even more so, there were even more comments relative to this issue. We were dealing with an issue, as the chair indicated, where the state had kind of kicked this issue down the road a lot, many times. For the first time, the Financial Services Commission of the state of New York decided they were going to deal with this issue, and they have. As you notice in here, one of the major changes is that this new rule is not to take effect for a year. One of the main reasons for that is that in the very recently released governor's budget and budget bills, there are 3 proposed new bills that will have a direct impact on the insurance requirements for all taxis and for hire vehicles. We are not sure at this time how that will work out, whether or not those proposed laws will pass, whether or not they'll pass as originally proposed, or whether or not they'll pass with amendments and changes, as many happens many times when they go to the legislature. But they are finally addressing the seriousness of this issue, and we have worked with them on this issue. Chair has worked with them on this issue very well. We heard many, and there were many changes. This rule changed probably more than most other rules since we've heard all the testimony from the interested parties, and we've adopted some into the rules, but we also are in the situation where by not having this go into effect for another year, we will have opportunities, if need be, relative to what happens on the state level, to make any adjustments that we feel would be appropriate. And I thank the chair for his involvement directly with the state, so that we had our input at that level, because they certainly are not as familiar with the industry here in the city of New York as we are here.
Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor of adopting the rules amended, please raise your hands. Okay, the rule proposal passes unanimously. Commissioner Do, I turn it back to you.
Thank you so much. The time now is 10:15, and I call this meeting to a close.